Frank Beck Chevrolet Studio Annex. Welcome again to another edition of Time Over Time on the Time Out Over Time YouTube channel. I'm your host, Rick Arsenal, at First Things First. If you haven't done so yet, get down there in the corner and smash that like and subscribe button. You'll be doing me a big favor. I apologize. First, let me bring Miggy in here. We can't do a show without him. If you could hear, the neighbors are putting on a new roof. I've got all the windows closed, but you may still be hearing some hammering. If you do, I apologize for that. Obviously, there's nothing I can do about it. We'll just deal with that and move on. Because of that, we'll probably do a little shorter show today, maybe about 50 minutes. Little Tigers, little Lions as they get ready for their final preseason game on Saturday. So here we go. Time Out Over Time is sponsored in part by Frank Beck Chevrolet and M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. If it's time for a new-to-you vehicle, let the sales professionals at Beck's help you choose the right vehicle. New or pre-owned, Beck's has the top selection in the tri-state area with over 200 vehicles in stock. Stop by and see for yourself, and when you're ready, ask for Russ McMorty, Chris Hodis, Danny Smith, Adam Schaefer, Blake Bryant, Cameron Mincio, Bob Flynn, Peyton Lucas. I think we covered all of them. They're all good people, all good men. And when it comes time to service that new-to-you vehicle, the service pros at Beck's can fix it. Any make, any model, Ford or domestic, Beck's can fix it. And if you have a bit of a crunch or fender bender, Beck's Body Shop can put it back together looking just as good as new. So for all your automotive needs, look no further than Frank Beck Chevrolet and M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville at 517-849-2886 or on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Come and experience the Frank Beck difference. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. I will be reminding you in just a few minutes of a very, as I have the past several weeks, of a very special event, which will be transpiring. Boy, the way that the weeks are catching up to us here, the way time is going by, 2 weeks from, 3 weeks. 3 weeks from Saturday. September the 14th would be 3 weeks at Frank Beck Chevrolet. It will be their 9th annual salute to our area's first responders. I will be elaborating on that in just a few minutes. But first, the Tigers finished out their 3-game series with the Cubs today at Wrigley on a losing note. I'm going to spend a whole lot of time talking about this game. They lost 10-2. I think the only good to come out of it was Spencer Torkelson did hit a 2-run homer. So it's good to see him go deep. Actually, since he's come back from Toledo, I think he's been hitting pretty well. So now they head about 15 or 20 miles south. Somewhere about 15 or 20 miles south of Wrigley to the south side to Guaranteed Rate Field, where they will be playing the next 4 games with the White Sox. And as we speak, the Tigers are currently 62 and 66. Very simple. You go in there and sweep 4 from the White Sox, and you come home next week at 66 and 66 with 30 games left. Now, an update, by the way, and look, the Tigers team ERA for the month of August, before today's game, Tigers team ERA for the month of August was under 3. And as I've been texting the guys earlier in the week, I don't see how A.J. Hinch and Chris Fetter have been doing it when you've only got 2 starters, really. And what they've been doing, I mean, I think like 6 of the last 7 games, or I don't know how many games it's been, maybe more than that, but they've held their opponents to 3 runs or less. Pitching's been very good until today. So you knew that sooner or later this was going to happen. You can't keep operating, pitching wise anyway, the Tigers have been, and you won't get away. You won't get away with it for a sustained period of time. Sooner or later, it's going to catch up to you, and today it did. So maybe we got lucky. I'm not hearing hammering anymore, so maybe I lucked out there. You hear anything? I don't. Anyway, injury report on a couple of starting pitchers. Casey Mize, I think, begins a rehab stint in Toledo tonight, or maybe it was a day game. I don't know, but he's close to coming back, as is the other Tiger starter, Reese Olson. He's close to coming back too. Now he's about to begin a rehab start as well. In fact, there's not a rehab start. He threw off the mound today. I think it sounds like Mize will be back sooner than Olson. Still no timetable yet on either one of them, but they're not being very specific with Olson. They're saying he'll be back in September. What does that tell us? Well, I think it would help out. I think they'd have a better shot at a winning record. Which would be, again, I have talked about this before. They'd have to win 80. They'd have to go 82-80. And if they leave Chicago on Monday night, 66 up and 66 down, I think that they still have a pretty reasonable chance in the last 30 games. So obviously they would have to go 17-13, 16-14, something like that in the last 30 games. I think 16-14 would get them to 82 wins. So it's doable. Like I said, it's a fairly easy schedule in the month of September. They do have a road trip, 6-game road trip, 3 in Kansas City and 3 in Baltimore. And that goes, I said, they come home next week for 3 with the Angels and 3 with the Red Sox. Red Sox still badly enough. By the way, have you looked at the standings yet for the American League Central? We have a bona fide 3-team race going on right there right now. 2.5 games separating the top 3 teams: Cleveland, Minnesota, and Kansas City. So that could come down to a photo finish with those 3 teams. Interesting. Yeah, I didn't expect this. And as it turns out, it looks right now like the Tigers will have a better season this year than they did last year. I picked them to win 87 games, and if Carpenter and Green had not missed a substantial amount of time, I think they would have had a good shot at it. But it is what it is. By the way, Max Clark at West Michigan hit his second home run last night at West Michigan. So, well, that guy's a real athlete, and I can see him here maybe even to start the 2026 season. You'd have an outfield maybe of Clark and Green in the corners and Parker in center field. You're saying, what about Carp? Well, he DH, designated hitter, pretty much. Well, maybe Jim Leyland was right when he said a couple of weeks ago the future does look very bright for this team, and he said even as soon as next year. Then there's an old saying too: addition by subtraction. I'll tell you what I mean by that in just a second, but I'm going to tell you about the special event coming up at Frank Beck Chevrolet on Saturday, September the 14th, when they will be celebrating their 9th annual salute to first responders. This year, there will be a special tribute to the Hillsdale County Sheriff's Department, and rightfully so. You bring the kids, let them get up close to emergency vehicles, meet police and firefighters, play games, and more. Enjoy a free lunch. You sign up for prizes as we celebrate the area's first responders. Plus, there will be a poker run as well. Again, that's Saturday, September the 14th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Frank Beck Chevrolet at M99 between Hillsdale and Jonesville. I think get more info on the web at frankbeckchevy.com. Stop by that day and experience the Frank Beck difference. If you haven't done so yet, put that in your phone. Put a big circle around it on your calendar. Saturday, September the 14th, from 10 to 2. It will be a family event that everyone will enjoy. I can promise you that. Everybody's going to have a lot of fun out there that day. We're looking forward to it. We're doing the timeout show from out there that morning. So we want to see you stop by and say hello to us. And no, be a good time for everybody. We were out there last year and we had a very good time out there. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Good times for all. Bring the kids. Everybody has a good time that day. So, Frank Beck Chevrolet, Saturday, September the 14th, from 10 to 2. Look forward to seeing you there. Okay. What did I mean by addition by subtraction? As I take another slug of water here. Hang on just a second. Once this season is over with, folks, the Tigers are going to still owe Javier Baez at the end of this season. It might be hard to fathom, but they're still going to owe Javier Baez $73 million. $73 million. Chris Ilitch, Scott Harris. When are you going to buy him out? That's a problem. He's an albatross around her neck right now. I'm going to do with this guy. Boy, it's hard to fathom Ilitch doing that. But if he is here next year, I would not. I'd basically use him and maybe as a late inning defensive replacement. He is a veteran. Maybe he would have a good influence on the younger players. I don't know. That's an issue they're going to have to address. And Scott Harris has already said that when asked about Javier Baez, they would address that in the offseason. So we'll see. We'll just have to wait and see on that. But bottom line is, after the last game, they'll still be into Javier Baez for a cool $73 million. Okay, before we talk about the Lions, and that we'll wrap it up with them, tell you about a good man, very knowledgeable man when it comes to tech services. Tim Lindley, Quality PCU, helped me get this whole thing set up here at 37 Waldron Street in downtown Hillsdale, a couple hundred feet west of Howell Street. He is the most knowledgeable, tech-savvy guy in our area, folks. Anything, computers, new or used, maybe the computer you have now needs some work done on it. Flat screen TV, mounting and programming and setup. Maybe you're changing internet providers, printers, new or used, you name it, anything related to tech services. Tim Lindley is the man you want to see. Nice man, too. Like I've said before, he and his wife are two of the nicest people I've ever met. So please, if you have an issue or you need tech service, don't forget Tim at 517-610-5372, or better still, get in there and see him at 37 Waldron Street in downtown Hillsdale and tell him Mickey and I sent you. If you would, please. Thank you so much. Lions had a scare at practice a couple of days ago now. No, it was yesterday, in fact. It was yesterday morning. Penei Sewell went down. He did not have to get carted off or anything. He went to the sideline, took his shoe off, walking with a slight limp. Bottom line is, folks, and I think we've all done this before, I think he stepped on somebody's foot and turned his ankle. You know how painful that can be. But that's all it is. They did an MRI. There's nothing more than that. And you knew shortly after this occurred, if you didn't see anything from Adam Schefter, who's right on top of all this stuff, if you didn't see anything from him, you knew it could have been anything serious. And Justin Rogers tweeted out late in the afternoon yesterday that an inside source at the Lions told him Sewell was good. And it was confirmed again today by ESPN's reporter. So take a big sigh, take a big sigh of relief. You stop and think about it. 3 or 4 guys that the Lions could absolutely not afford to lose. Of course, one would be Penny, Goff, of course, Amon-Ra, Hutch, those 4 especially. Brian Branch, Alex Anzalone, Frank Ragnow, all these guys. But anyway, he's going to be good to go, and he will be at right tackle on Sunday night, September 8th. That's all we need to know. By the way, after Saturday's game against the Steelers, I think I mentioned this on the last podcast, Lions are going to be getting a lot of guys back for practice next week and leading up to the game with the Rams. And I gave you the list of guys who were coming back the other day. Even Rakestraw and Arnold look like they're going to be good to go. No serious injuries. And that's probably the best thing to come out of training camp this year. So something too interesting that Dan Campbell said, I think it was Tuesday morning. He said, Nate Sudfeld has a leg up right now on Hendon Hooker for the backup job. You find it hard to believe? You think maybe he was trying to light a fire under Hooker or something? Remember, it's been a while since Hooker's been, actually under center taking snaps. And apparently yesterday it was reported in practice he had another 2 or 3 fumbles like he did on the goal line Saturday. He's had problems with the handoffs. And any coach will tell you that comes with, practice and repeating that over and over and over. He has done that for a couple of years now. I would think Hooker will be starting Saturday. I see no need to start Nate Sudfeld on Saturday. Start Hooker and let him play at least 3 quarters. He needs the reps. He needs the reps and play him the whole game. We need to see any more Sudfeld. We've seen enough of Jake Sudfeld. Let Hendon Hooker play all 60 minutes. The Lions barely too. Next Tuesday at 4 o'clock, local time, our time, Eastern time, 1 o'clock Pacific. Going to have to be down to 53 men. And this is always a day that the coaches literally despise because it's tough to call a guy into the office and tell him you didn't make it. If you remember watching Hard Knocks a couple of years ago, the look on Dan Skipper's face when they told him, I thought the poor guy was going to cry. But anyway, Dan is back. He's part of that offensive line rotation, part of the depth they have on this team. He's playing very well. I think he's benefited from the tutelage of one Hank Fraley, his offensive line coach. It even looks like DJ Reader is trending toward playing Sunday night, September the 8th. He will be back at practice, working on the side. I don't know how much he'll be involved in getting. Look, he's a veteran. He doesn't need much practice. I would feel very comfortable with putting him in there, letting him play without having had any practice at all. If he can't go, we've heard so much about Levi Onwuzurike. And by the way, I'll tell the guys on the timeout show, we're just going to refer to him as Levi. If I do, you know who I'm talking about. No, I don't think there's any need to pronounce his last name any more than we have to. He's been a monster in training camp, and his defensive line coach, Terwell Williams, has said he can play inside or outside. The guys at 97 won the ticket were out at practice yesterday morning and early afternoon. And they came away saying they were very impressed with 2 players. One was Onwuzurike, and the other one was defensive end Marcus Davenport. Marcus Davenport. He's bigger than they thought he was. And they said Onwuzurike looked stunningly bigger. He's gained some weight. It's all muscle. this guy looks like he's ready to go. And like I said, his defensive line coach, Terrell Williams, has said he can play inside or outside. There'll be a lot of guys on the bubble Saturday. I think Saturday will be a big day for one James Houston. I think his possibility he might not make it. Lions still have a need, I think, for a fourth wide receiver, and I'm not sure that guy's on the roster right now. Leave it up to Brad Holmes to. It's almost a given that there will be a formidable wide receiver who is cut next Tuesday. And I think Brad Holmes will be there to pick him up and bring him in. That's what I'm thinking. I can almost assure you that fourth receiver for the Lions right now is not on the roster. No, we're about ready to wrap it up. I did want to remind you, too, though, don't forget the college football season gets underway at noon Saturday on CBS when Florida State, the 10th ranked team in the nation right now, I believe, takes on Georgia Tech in Dublin, Ireland. And for the sake of you bettors, last time I looked, Florida State was an 11.5 point favorite, and the over and the under for this game is 55.5. That reminds me, too, 2 weeks from Saturday, September the 7th, Andy and Jed and I will be, again, as we have done every year now for the last several NFL seasons, we'll be making our picks against the spread. And I might have to remind the guys on Saturday who won last year with a late comeback. Well, maybe we'll talk about that on Saturday. We'll see. So yeah, and that's always fun for us anyway. That's probably the most enjoyable part of the show. So, okay, and I think we're about done here. That's about it. Don't forget, as I said, Saturday morning here locally. There was one more thing, too. I wanted to, Larry might remember this. If you haven't heard by now, the Detroit Lions have made the cover of Sports Illustrated. Sports Illustrated is predicting that the Lions will not only participate in Super Bowl 58 in New Orleans on February 11th, but they will win. They will be the Super Bowl champions. And the only thing I could think of was when I heard about Sewell going down yesterday was here we go with that Sports Illustrated jinx again. So if you're a Lion fan, I guess that would be a collector's edition that you would want to get your hands on. I've tried everywhere here in Hillsdale. I can't find anybody that stocks Sports Illustrated magazine. So if you're interested, you may have to go online. You can buy single issues of Sports Illustrated online. That might be your best way to go if you want to get a commemorative issue collector's item for a Lion fan. Jared Goff, Penei Sewell, and Amon-Ra St. Brown are on the front cover. So, and like I said, if you're a Lion fan, that is a collector's edition. A couple of notes I don't want to leave out here. Colt McCoy, you may or may not have heard, has retired. He's been around for a while with several teams, mostly as a backup. He has retired, and he will be an analyst for NBC doing college football. So good for him. He found another career in broadcasting, and we're glad to hear that. So, anything else I wanted to cover before we get off here? I think not. So like I said, if you're looking for a Sports Illustrated edition with the 3 Lions on the cover, I doubt very much you're going to find one in our area. And again, I think your best bet is to go online. You can buy a single issue online. So that's probably the best way to go. That's what I'm probably going to do. So anyway, now we're done. Time out with Andy and Jed Saturday morning from 9 to 10 here locally at WCSR 92.1 FM. And I will talk to you again all on Saturday. So until then, as always, please treat each other with respect. Have a good evening, and so long.